Yes, we can start.
Okay. Okay, so we're gonna talk today about our solution, which is UserGate Web Filter, which give you ability to filter web traffic with very deeply. So as we call it, is a deep content filtering. Well, actually, it's not we call it; it's called by everybody. So what I want to tell you today is first, it's just a brief introduction of what our UserGate Web Filter can do. Then we talk about deployment options, about various integration options into the client's network, integration with personal cabinet, and then demonstration. Okay, let's start with introduction. So I will do it very briefly because, you know, I can talk a lot about it, but I do believe that you have looked at our website and have some information already.
Well, yes. I have a very huge experience with Blue Coat and WebSense as well. So I think I can understand most part of it, but anyways. Okay.
So, but again, briefly, so what our products can do is, first of all, it's URL filtering based on categories. It's a 65 categories, about 500 million of URLs, and that list have compliance with TIPA and IWF, which is one is US, one is UK regulations for child internet protection. Then what we have is a morphological analysis. So for example, you can search, well, not you, our product can find prohibited words or groups of words in all of the ways, and to block pages based on number of such words on a page. And it's not just, you know, very strict words. So, for example, if we add like a word, for example, take, it will be looked in all of these variations like a take and took, etc. And we also support phrases. We provide our product with updatable database of such phrases, which includes suicide, terrorism, pornography, drugs, gambling. And we support it in English, German, Russian, Arabic, Japanese. Then what we do is safe search. So we just enforce safe search if it's required. And we support most of the popular search engines. Black and white list, of course. So in black and white list, it can be host names or URLs, or host names, URLs, and wildcards. Advertisement blocking. So nothing new here. It's same technology as many ad block system uses. It's basically we just looked for, you know, advertisement part in the HTML and just block it or replace CSS styles. And we support this database, so it's automatically updated when we update it to our server. Just because, you know, ad block is such thing which changes every time, every day. Well, Regex, so it's again one way to filter. MIME types blocking. Again, if you want to block, for example, downloading of exe files or something else, it can be easily done. HTTPS filtering, also possible. So basically, it's a man in the middle. So we intercept HTTPS sessions and see what is inside. And when we see what is inside, we can use all the same techniques as we use for HTTPS. Virus checking, we have agreement with Avira, and we embedded the antiviral engine into our product. Okay, so this is very briefly. And let's go to the next slide. It's about solutions, how we, our main clients and the businesses which uses our solution. Of course, first of all, it's school internet. So, well, not just a school, but many different educational organizations such as universities, public schools, colleges, etc. Then some providers, ISPs, they offer safe internet for their clients. Safe means that without virus, spam, phishing, etc. So it's one way to sell our product to clients. Next is internet for business purposes. Again, it can be easily, our solution can be adapted easily to filter and leave only business internet to some offices. And the last one, internet for kids. Well, it's similar to school internet, but if a school is just for a educational organization, but internet for kids can be for homes, for example, or for people who wants to protect their child. Okay. By the way, if you have any questions, you just stop me and ask questions. I will explain more in details.
Okay, sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay, deployment options. So we have our software is developed for Ubuntu Server 12.04 LTS x64. So we have our own repository, and in user manual there is an installation procedure which exactly explains how to install it from our repository. You just need to have Ubuntu Server installed. And meet minimum hardware requirements. But again, it's kind of maybe a bit difficult, or I would say it's for advancers. So for a main public, we provide two types of images. Two types of images and hardware. So hardware, it's UserGate Web Filter appliance when everything is already installed, including Ubuntu server, including Squid, which we use in our product, together with our product. And there are two virtual appliances. Well, one virtual appliance is a virtual appliance, which we provide as OVF image, open virtual format. So it can be imported to basically to any of modern virtual system. And we provide ISO image. ISO image you can burn to DVD and boot your hardware or virtual server with it, and it will automatically install everything. Well, additional options which we have in our product is a clustering. So clustering is built into the product. So if you need more, if you need more performance, or if you have more traffic which needs to be filtering, you can just install additional nodes, and they will synchronize all together, and they will have similar settings, similar DNS filtering cache, etc. So again, it's easier. You can always add additional servers, or you can remove server from the cluster.
So for hardware, does Intensive supply directly, or customer buys and then deploys it on top of it? For appliance.
Appliance. Well, we're based in Russia. In Russia, we provide clients with hardware appliances. We have our partner in the United States who has very good appliances and who is willing to sell to clients worldwide. Again, as I understand, you are our partner, right? And you probably can have your own hardware, which can be used to make an appliances. And we actually will be happy to support you in this. No problem.
Okay.
So
great.
basically, it's just a computer with two or more network interfaces. Okay. Can I go next?
Yeah, please.
I just, this slide just shows how clustering looks like. So it's basically several nodes which are replicating cache and settings. And normally they use one statistics server where they send statistics to. We don't provide load balancing. So it has to be additional solutions which you may already have, or well, actually we'll talk about it later, about our ways how we suggest.
So for about statics server, how it's normally done? Is it a logging server with something like some log analyzer or some like NMS or something?
No, it's actually part of our UserGate Web Filter. So if it's not a cluster, normally statistics server resides on the same computer as UserGate Web Filter. If it's highly loaded environment and you have to create several nodes, so we advise to have statistics server separately. It's just a piece of software which is installed on that server. It's also Ubuntu 12.04, so it's just additional dev package which should be installed there and configured properly. That's it. So every node in a cluster they send, as we call it, raw data. So raw data is basically kind of XML type of data which are sent to statistics server. Statistics server gets those XML data, analyzes it, and create nice diagrams, like a top 12, top 10, top 20 popular categories, top 20 users, etc. So I'll show you in demonstration. Wait a sec. I see some questions, right? Yes, about hardware. As I told you, if you can provide hardware in India, that's fine. We are very happy with someone in India to provide hardware, full solution to.
Okay, so
our client.
I think Anil was asking about taxation and all. So Anil, I think the solution that Alex is talking about is we can source hardwares from India only, and we can burn it and supply it to the customers. So we don't have to get it from outside India. So I think there are local vendors here who supply hardwares for server class machines.
Yes, absolutely. You can supply clients with your hardware. No problem.
Yes. Anil is having some taxation issues.
Okay. Okay. So next is integration to the client's network. So actually, there are some easy ways and more complicated. So let's start from DNS filtering. Well, I didn't tell you, but we also support DNS filtering. So this web filtering solution actually works as a DNS filter and as a HTTP and HTTPS filter. So the easiest way and easy to configure, easy to implement, and easy to deploy to the client's network is a DNS filter. Of course, it has some drawbacks compared to HTTP because only category filtering and black and white list can be used in this case. But again, it's quite easy. So you install one or several servers, again, depending on client's request or for fault tolerance or for performance, and send all DNS requests from the client to those servers. So they will filter it on the way.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know. I believe that this picture is quite clear.
Yes, sir. It is.
Okay. So next one is, as we call it, inline. So you basically, so every appliance or virtual appliance, well, it has two network interfaces, or even with the one network interface, it can work. So you basically put appliance in traffic. So all clients' traffic goes to our appliance, and then it goes to the internet. In this case, in this case, you don't need to do anything with networking at all. So if it's, for example, if it's small office, that's probably the easiest way. So all DNS requests, all HTTP and HTTPS, they will be automatically picked up by our filtering server and filtered. Again, statistics server can be a separate computer, but also if load is not very high, it can be resides on the same server as a filtering service, and this is actually by default. So again, it's easy, it's fast, and it's for I would say for small offices. Well, actually, it can be not very small because one server can filter. If you talk about HTTP and HTTPS filtering up to 350 megabits per second, and this is only HTTP. If you have also another type of traffic which goes through the filtering server, like file sharing, FTP, torrent, or whatever, this traffic just goes through the filtering server and it doesn't impact performance. It doesn't impact much of performance of filtering. So 350 megabits, it's purely for HTTP and HTTPS. If we talk about DNS, so one server can hold up to about 6,000 DNS requests per second. So this is quite a lot. It's good for quite a big offices. Okay. Next one. If we talk about only HTTP and HTTPS filtering, no DNS filtering in this way, it's just configure it as a proxy. So we listen 2 ports in a normal proxy and two ports in a transparent proxy mode. So for example, like in this slide, you can put it to your web browser, the settings, and you will be filtered. I will use the same technique when I will show you a demonstration. So basically my Firefox will be configured with a proxy server and Safari will be used without proxy. Okay. Again, it's very clear and understandable. Another way, again, if you have, for example, if it's ISP or if it's a big company and they want to have more than one filtering server, if they want to have a cluster, they need to balance all traffic through that cluster. So one of the ways which can be used here is WCCP protocol from Cisco. So basically, Cisco routers, they can be configured in the way that some kind of traffic, but we need only HTTP, HTTPS, and DNS, can be sent to offloading proxy device, or web cache, as they call it. And so basically, a router will route all traffic except those traffic directly to the internet and traffic which needs to be filtered to our servers. To implement this on a filtering service, we need to support for a WCCP protocol, but it can be easily done because we use a Squid as a ECAP client, as a proxy server, and it can be easily done in a Linux box. We have a detailed instruction how to do this. It's not included by default, but it can be done quite easily if it's required.
So can can you give me an example of a real world application? Like let's say I'm a service provider which I just want to give my customers to access to internet on a public place. So I can go ahead and work out with WCCP in this case. So I can allow customers to use HTTP and HTTPS and everything else either I can block or I can redirect to something, some other services. Maybe. Is it like that?
WCCP is just a protocol which allows to reroute some part of traffic or some kind of traffic to web cache devices, as Cisco call it. So in this case, web cache devices is our filtering service. So basically, all traffic which goes to the filtering service, they will be filtered. It will be filtered. Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
So in this case, for example, to configure WCCP, is it mandatory for me to get a Cisco appliance, or it can be done, as you said, by Square or something else?
No, WCCP. Well, actually, it's not very clear what you're asking. So you have customer who that give me
I have a requirement where I have to redirect my DNS, HTTP, and HTTPS traffic to a different server. Maybe that server I will say, okay, it's a basic. For there, I'll categorize those services as a basic services, and all of the services which is allowed, I'll put it into some kind of a, let's say, premium services. So in this case, how will I configure WCCP? So for that section of the WCCP, will I need an appliance or just a configuration on my server?
WCCP is configured on the router, on the Cisco router, and you need at least one server in this case, which will accept that traffic from the router and send it to the internet.
Okay. So that's what the router for is mandatory for WCCP, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, got it.
Well, actually, not just router. Some Cisco switches, modern Cisco switches, they can do this as well.
Oh, okay.
Okay, another way to load traffic to the filtering servers, and we use that technology in one of the big Russian ISP. It's a port channel or Ether channel. But I didn't tell you. Sorry. Here, WCCP protocol itself. It's good because it can do load balancing between filtering servers. So load balancing is already in WCCP, and for example, if one of the filtering servers just goes down or just shut off, it will be excluded by a Cisco router from sending traffic to that server. So, but this is just nature of WCCP. It's nothing from our side. So this is why we recommend WCCP is for a big ASP, so for a big companies who wants to filter their traffic. Port channel or Ether channel, it's just a different way. So it requires Cisco switch, not just Cisco. So basically, it's probably any kind of switch which support port channel. So port channel is basically it's a way to create trunks from several Ethernet ports, and they will act as just a one port. So in this case, so let's say like in this example, we have 3 filtering servers. So basically, all filtering servers connect to each port of this trunk, and switch itself, it sends just a portion of traffic to every of this server. So in this way, we can this option is less expensive as previous one, because normally switches are less expensive as routers. but it also works. And as I told you before, we use this technology or this deployment schema at one of the big Russian ISP. They decided to go with switches and with a port channel. Again, it's basically all is needed is the switches which support this technology, and all configuration is done at the switch level, not at the our server. Okay, and the next one, probably the less expensive one, is using Linux load balancers. Again, we still use this schema at one of the company in UK who filters Heathrow, UK Heathrow Airport. They have two UserGate Web Filters in a cluster mode, exactly as it's here in this picture, and they have two additional servers with Linux LVS installed. So basically, it's kind of a load balancer, but it's not just a load balancer. We have also installed here LDirectD, which is the daemon, which checks that every of UserGate Web Filter servers is up and running. If for some reason it is not, or it's crashed or something like that, so it just excludes that server from sending traffic to it. It's for us and for them, it's very useful because, if, for example, if they want to do some kind of maintenance work and on the server one, they just shut it off, and automatically, in a portion of seconds, all traffic goes to another server. So for clients, it's transparent, no interruption, and
load balancing is not done within the system, the UGWF. It's done from externally, right?
Correct.
And what about HA? Can we do HA from the appliance itself?
Can we do? I'm sorry, what?
High availability failover, you can say.
Appliance can be part of a cluster, like for example, on this slide. So these two UGWF1 and UGWF2, for example, in this case, it's a part of it's a one cluster. So basically, all settings informations, users, etc., it's replicated between these nodes. For example, if one goes down, all information is still on the second one, but external system needs to switch traffic from one node which is down to another one.
Okay, got it.
And it can be more than just two nodes in one cluster. It can be 10 or 20, as much as required. Okay, integration with personal cabinet. UserGate Web Filter and its web console, it uses XML RPC to interact with the web console and to all internal procedures. So basically, it's an API which is open, and we have documentation for it. And so if you want to control UserGate Web Filter, such as, for example, create user or assign a filtering policy or something like that, it can be done not just from a web console, but from your application, which is you should use our API.
So with this API, can I can I draw out reports and customize dashboards for my Nagios or other panels?
Reports, no. Custom dashboards is probably yes, but we need to better understand what you mean by custom dashboard. So
for example, the traditional graphs and looks that we get on the let's say UserGate console, on the web console or something. So most of some of our customers have their own network operations center, and they use single dashboard to manage everything. So for example, they want just to display the bandwidth and the URL traffic that is going on a particular website on that, but on the same dashboard. So can I use that API to dig the data from UGWF and put it on the dashboard, of which that dashboard is itself a Nagios framework, you can say?
Yeah, it's clear. No, not in this version. So in this version, APIs only allows you to control UserGate Web Filter. So that means that you can, for example, assign policy, change policy, filtering policy, create user or deactivate user or something like that. You cannot get web statistic information based on API in this version, and you cannot do this with you cannot get some counters or whatever for your dashboard. Future version we will have it, but not this one.
Okay.
But I'll show you. I don't know if you tried to see our UserGate Web Filter. But anyway, the next part will be a demonstration. And I'll show you how it looks like and what can you exactly do with UserGate Web Filter. Okay, so if you're ready for demonstration, I'll switch from
yes.
From slides to a real browser. So this is my Firefox, which is configured to go to internet through a proxy server, as you can see here. By the way, if it's a delay when I switch between slides or between windows, just let me know, because internet connections here.
It's fine as of now.
Okay. Okay, so you see it's manual configuration proxy, and for HTTP and for HTTPS configured to proxy with different ports. Okay. Now I go to wf.intensis.com. This is our demo UserGate Web Filter, which actually is available for you as well.
Yeah, I saw it.
You only can see a web interface and do some changes, but I also able to send some real traffic to it and be filtered. Okay. So yeah, I'll go just brief to main settings here. So like a general settings basically tells block page for DNS requests. Set some DNS service which needs to be used by a system. For HTTP filtering, enable or disable advertisement block. It's global settings, but there is also settings per user when you can enable or disable advertisement block for a specific user or group. Automatic update of advertisement block. You see it's version 86 now, which it was updated not today, right? Again, block page for HTTP blocks. It can be different, but in our case it's the same for a DNS and for a HTTP. This address is actually address of a UserGate Web Filter. So for all blocked requests, I will be directed to UserGate Web Filter, and it will show me why my request, DNS request or HTTP request, was blocked. We can use additional ICAP servers. By the way, I didn't tell you, but our solution is actually the ICAP server. So we need a ICAP client to send traffic through it. So basically, as an ICAP client, we use, if it's appliance, we use a Squid proxy server, but also it can be anything which supports ICAP protocols such as Cisco routers or whatever. Actually, many devices can be used as an ICAP client. Okay, what else? Counters. So this is, I would call it very, very simple dashboard, which just shows that something is filtered. You see that basically nobody uses the server, and counters are not such high, and counters actually reset every time UserGate Web Filter restart. So now we have HTTP request modifications 35 and HTTP response modifications. So basically HTTP request modifications, this is when client send HTTP GET request. So basically it's a URL. So based on that URL, we can decide which category this site belongs to, or which blacklist or whitelist this site belongs to, and block or allow this request going to that site. And HTTP response modification is basically working with content itself. So when we get web content from the site, and here we apply basically advertisement blocking, morphology analysis, antivirus, etc. We need content to do this. And DNS requests, you see that it's clear now because there were no DNS requests, but when we do some demonstration on filtering, there will be some counters here as well. Okay, request for whitelist is basically where users can, so for example, if users were blocked by going to some site, so block page will allow him to click a button and send a request for a whitelist. So it will be here, and admin then can check what is this website is about, and for example, add it to a whitelist or not. Again, check URL. So basically, we can just check which category URL belongs to. Like a google.com, it's a search engine and portals category, and you can see that this site is not blocked by any rules which we have configured here. HTTPS filtering, again, it's you can just enable it or disable it and select a filtering mode. Whitelist means that everything will be filtering except sites which are on the right. And blacklist, if I change it, it will be opposite. So nothing will be filtered in HTTPS except sites which are on the right side. Here you also can generate HTTPS, well, not HTTPS, CA certificate, which will be used to create certificates for a site for which HTTPS will be intercepted.
So can we upload our certificate also?
You see, when HTTPS, it's encrypted protocol, right? So when a user sends a request to a HTTPS site, and if you want to filter what is inside of this request, we need to intercept that request. And then what we do, as it's intercepted, we send request from our server to that site, get response back, and decrypt it on a server side, then filter it, and then encrypt it and send it back to a user. But we cannot encrypt it with the same certificate as from original site because we don't have it. So for that, we create our own certificate and encrypt it with that. For example, just give you an example. So if, for example, somebody goes to facebook.com, and we said that this site should be filtered and intercepted. So server will go to to facebook.com, download content, and then it's encrypted with a certificate at the server and send it to the client. And this certificate, SSL certificate, actually it's a CA certificate. It's a certificate authority, which is used to create certificates for every particular site. And as in this case, it will be created a certificate for a facebook.com, but it will be created not by a normal authority, but by a local authority. Well, I'll show you this later in my demonstration. Okay, if we talk about appliance, so there are some settings belonging only for appliance, like interfaces. So you can change IP address, etc., for Ethernet ports, and DHCP. Again, it's not configured here, but basically it's very basically DHCP server. For a small organization, sometimes it's required. Groups, again, users can be organized to groups, and groups can be included to another group. So actually you can create kind of tree structure. In this case, it's very simple, but for example, if I create additional group, let's say it's going to be group 2, I can include it to group called instances. And you see it's group and another group. And users, again, users can be, well, not can be, they should be in one group. And security filtering policy, it can be applied to user or to group or to both. When you create a user, all you need to do is just to set it up the IP addresses. It can be just one IP address, or it can be a range of IP addresses, like in this example. And also what you need to do is just to set up his user interface, language. Safe search can be enabled or disabled here. Advertisement block, again, can be enabled or disabled. Antivirus, and blocking post requests. For my view, it's useless feature, but some clients want just to block post request at all. Also, you can check which black and white list can be applied to this user, and which rules can be applied to this user. In this case, you see it's intensive rule, but it's gray listed here because it's applied on a group level. So I cannot uncheck it here. I need to go to group intensive and unselect it there. And
so can I define quotas on users? Like you can browse, let's say, this many hours or this many this much megabytes of downloads and so on.
No, it's only filtering solution. It's not a firewall. Yes, because we see only DNS, HTTP, and HTTPS.
Okay.
If it's in development, we have a UTM solution now, which will be able to do this. But again, this is only a web filtering solution and concentrates only on filtering. Okay, so briefly, exclusions. This is a black and white list. You create your own or use our black and white lists. it's up to you. Morphology. As I tell you, morphology is phrases or words which needs to be based on which page can be blocked. So basically, when you create your own morphology, you can add additional words here. And as you can see, there is a weight for a morphology database itself, like 100 for my morphology. And every phrase has its own weight. So basically, to block the page.
What does this exclamation defines in front of that word?
Yeah, exclamation means in front of word means, well, actually tell us that these words should not be checked in all of its variations. For example, again,
so is it like exclusion marker?
No. For example, give you English word take, right? So if there is no exclamation point in front of it, so we'll be looking for words like take, took, taken, takes, etc. Right? If there is exclamation point in front, it's going to be only take. So if I want to, for example, block page which has take, I don't know, world. So take won't be changed, and world can be changed, like world, worlds, I don't know, something else.
So it means it becomes more strict to the word.
Yes, because sometimes, especially if you have a very long phrases here, like 10 words, you probably don't need to. Well, again, it's just to minimize false positive. For example,
I got it.
Yeah. Sometimes we use it, sometimes we don't, and our own morphology bases which are here, like bad words, drag, etc. So there are some phrases with exclamation points and some are not. And again, here, if I move mouse pointer to the world, you see that there is a Inline update version number 52 and date. So we do support those bases, morphology bases. And for our morphology bases, you are not able to see what is inside, just because it's kind of our intellectual property. But all you can do is here is just to change threshold, like normal, low, normal, and high. So high means that less, for example, pornography words are required to block page, and high, no, actually this is for high, and for low it's basically more like pornography words, for example, is required to block page. Okay, Regex. Well, actually, nobody uses it, but we have it. I don't know.
Well, I have used in past, so.
Yeah, but it's this actually done for for very, very specific cases.
Yes.
Content types. So this is just an example, but so I can create a content type called audio and add it MIME types here. So if you want to create, for example, I don't know, exe or whatever, or video, you can also create it here, and then you need to add all MIME types here. I don't remember all of those MIME types, and actually the number of MIME types is quite a lot. It's a huge list, but it can be easily found in the internet, and actually we have it in our help page here. Well, I'm not going to show it, but it's not that difficult. Again, rules. Let's open contains role. So basically it has some tabs here, and first tab is basically name, logic type, or means that any of condition on this tab will trigger the rule. So URL categories, which will be blocked. So there is a list. If you want to add more, you just click add, and you can see a full list of 65 categories, and you can, check box those which you need to be filtered. There are some exclusions. Morphology. Again, all of our categories are checked here, and what is important here, there are some URL categories exclusions. So basically, if we talk about, for example, terrorism, of course, if you go to news site, you'll see some, pages about, unfortunately, about some terror attack which happened somewhere, and we can block it by our morphology filter, which is not good. So in this case, we exclude category news from morphology checking. Same for information security, just because it's, all critical Microsoft, Apple, etc. updates, they didn't need to be checked for morphology and for some reason blocked. So this is just again for a reduce false positives. Regular expressions and time. That's it. Also, there is a custom redirect here. So for every particular rule, you can create your own, you can assign your own page, which will be shown as a block page. Well, again, if it's required, there is a, on the general settings, there is a, kind of global setting for a block page, but for every rule, it can be also its own. Okay, and just a bit of statistics. So this is how it looks like. So it's aggregated statistic. So as I told you before, there are some raw data, but raw data is huge, and it's not possible to create statistics from them. So that raw data is aggregated to predefined report, and you can check them here. So basically, it's how many allowed pages, how many allowed requests, how many blocked. Then you can see domains, top domains, where your people browse to, and site categories. And again, site categories, you can check only block categories, for example, and see which sites and which categories were blocked, etc. And triggered rules. Well, this is a demo web filter, so basically it doesn't have a lot of sites here, but there are some few. Okay, so this is basically a web interface. So everything which you can see here, except statistics, can be done with API. Okay, now let's check how it works. Are you here? Okay, first and the simple one is the DNS filtering. I will do it with nslookup command. I believe you know what it does. So I will send a DNS request to a DNS filtering server. So I will tell that server is, I don't remember its IP address. It's wefintensive.com. And now I will switch to this server, which is 188.226.222.207, and send some DNS requests. So First one is a legal one. Let's say it's rr.com. So it gives me IP address of that server. But if I go, for example, some pornography site like RedTube. Okay, you see, so for RedTube it gives me IP address of UserGate Web Filter server. So basically, if I would do it in my browser, I will get a blog page. And you see how a blog page looks in HTTP filtering. Okay, that's simple. Now let's do some browsing stuff. So again, you see that I'm reading bbc.com about World Cup, and it works just fine, maybe a little slow just because I'm in another part of the world now, and my HTTP request goes through Proxy, which is in another part of the world, but it's fine. It's just a connectivity issue. So, but if I go, for example, to some bad sites again, let's use that RedTube pornography site. You see, I've been blocked, and I've been blocked because default rule was in action, and because this site belongs to pornography and sexual explicit category. So this is what users see. And if, for example, as a user, I do believe that this is a good site, I can actually click here to add to whitelist. And this means that I will send a request to administrator to add this site to whitelist, and administrator can probably do this for me. But he will definitely need to check before what this site is about. Okay, this is very simple HTTP filtering. Let's do more. Let's open some good site again, just to check that good sites are not blocked. Let's go to, I don't know, CNN. Again, it's open, it is working. Next try, let's filter something by morphology. What I'm gonna do now is just, I belong to group default, and I will disable safe search now because I'm gonna use Google to search for bad phrases. Let's go to Google. And let's try to search for porno. Oops. You see, I blocked, and I blocked because morphology category is pornography. It's not a category of URL, because Google is a good site. Google is a search engine, right? Category of this site is search engine and portal. But I still be blocked because we found some pornography words, because when I search for porn, I got definitely some porno results with porno words, and we see this and we block it. Okay, what else? Let's try to open this site. I'll copy it. Wait a second. So you see that I'm trying to go to site by IP address. This IP address is IP address of one of the, again, adult sites. And URL categories, they work only with the hosts, only with URLs, but they don't work with the IP addresses. So, but in this case, this site still blocked because we found it via morphology categories. So we found some bad words, some porno words on that site and blocked it.
Okay.
Now let's see how safe search works. I go back to the group which I belong to and enable safe search. Okay, and now I will try to use Google to find some kind of questionable words. Well, let's start with not questionable. Let's start again with the word porno. Oops, this is not what I expected. Okay, let's modify rule a little bit. So again, I will disable default rule. So basically, I disable morphology checking. I don't want it for now because I want to check that safe search is working. Because now, even before safe search begins to work, my request is blocked by morphology rule. Okay, so now I have a group default. Wait a sec. Yeah, and the default rule is not applied to it. So no morphology, but with a safe search. Let's do search again. Wow, and now you see that Google tells me that there is no such, Google cannot find anything for word pussy, for example, because safe search is on. But I didn't turn safe search on this page in my browser or in my Google account. This was enforced by UserGate Web Filter. Even if I try go here and turn off safe search and try to search again, you see it's again, safe search is still on because we enforce it. We enforce to use safe search on all searches to Google. Actually, safe search works not just for Google. Safe search works for for Yandex, for Bing, and it also used for YouTube. YouTube is just a part of Google, and they use safe search technology there as well. So it is quite a powerful tool. Okay, I will go back and enable the rule. And also, what's good about safe search? Sometimes I want to find something in Google Pictures. Let's say I'm searching for an atom and I want to see some images. So I can easily see it from Google Images, right from a Google search, right? But again, safe search is on, so it shows only good pictures here. Even if I'm trying to search something bad, like let's say word naked, you see, even in images I cannot see anything with the word make. And if you try to do it without our web filter or without safe search enabled, you'll see a lot of pictures with, you know, questionable material. So this is very important for schools when they want, for example, to show some good pictures, good images from Google search, like an Atom, and they don't want to even be bothered with the bad pictures, which are always or often, even if you search for a good stuff, sometimes you get bad pictures. Okay, let's try to download some virus. There is a special file which can be downloaded from internet to check if it's just, you know, basic check that virus checking is working fine. It's a file called acar, and it's on acar.org website. So, but you see here, if I'm trying to download that file, I got blocked by a recent virus, and this is because we have a Avira antiviral engine embedded to our product. So this is basically all demonstration which I wanted to show you today. If you get back to the web console and go to counters, you see that those counters are incremented as well as DNS counters, because I did some DNS lookup request, DNS lookup to filter in DNS server, and they are here now. And if I go to statistics, it's also there are also some additional requests which are showed here today. Those are my requests. Okay, this is all from my side. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Do you have any questions?
No, Anil, not yet. Actually, we will be testing and studying the solution, so please go ahead.
Kathleen, are you still on the phone?
Hi, Anil. Sorry, I was out. Can you?
Yeah, no problem. No, I just wanted to let you know that yes, we gone through the presentation, and I think we have a very good idea of what we need to do. So we'll be doing some tests and some study internally ourselves before we start putting together some of those campaign plans that we discussed.
The connection is very bad. I badly hear you. Okay, you are interested in the solution and in the program itself, and you want to test the product. And firstly, we need to deploy the demo, right? Okay, good. Good. So Anil and Varnit, and also you can say to Deepesh, I will send to you the NFR license code. Just yes, okay. The license code for testing. Right. Okay. Okay.
And also, I suggest you just to go to our website, to intensive.com, and start with downloading OVF or ISO images, just because it's easier to install them. So it's very straightforward, and instruction is is also there. So if you go to www.intentions.com and then go to UserGate Web Filter page, you can see all materials.
Okay. Okay, Anil. So if you have no more questions, I think we can end the meeting now.
Yeah, one question I have, Catherine, here. Actually, for most of the users go through the Proxy website to access all this content. So, is there any possibility to block all these?
Not in this solution. So again, if it's just a request, well, it can be done. You see, there are some anonymizer sites, so which actually is not required for users to set up proxy in their browser. So they basically go to that website, and on that website there is a kind of additional form for a URL. So you put URL there, and you can read or view another website through that site. So it's called anonymizers, and we can block this by a category. There is a special category in our intentions categories. But if you talk about real proxy, when a user can, for example, put IP address and port in their browsers and go through that proxy, no, this solution cannot block it. So this can be easily done by a firewall. You just need to open, ports which are required for users to normal work without accessing any additional ports which can be used for a proxy.
Okay. What if any user want to search the solution? Sometimes they know that we have implemented these instances to protect them, to prevent them to use this type of words. So sometimes they search on the website that I want the solution for instances. Means what is the how can I break the instances over there? So can we block this type of search over there also?
Well, if you find some sites, we definitely can block them, so we can put them to a blacklist. That's easiest. So again, a blacklist can be created by a local administrator, by you, or by us. We have some blacklists which we distribute with our software. But normally it's a blacklist like a terrorist blacklist, etc. So if you want to put some sites to a blacklist and to block it for any kind of reason, it can be done by you. Or again, or by us if we found it's very useful. And again, just remember that we can block sites based on morphology. So, for example, it's probably the easiest way to block such site is just put in a morphology like a phrase, like I don't know how to hack intentions web filter or something like that. So we just need to find out what users are looking on the internet and just see what's on that website.
Okay. Okay, Catherine, we are done with the questions.
So no more questions. No.
No, we will test. We will install, download this instances software from your website, and we will install, and then we will try to do some experiment on this, and after that, if we find any questions or any queries, so we will ask you.
Okay.
Yeah, and for any technical problem, just contact me. So it's better to contact me than Catherine. And do you need recording of today's meeting?
Varnit, do you need this meeting recorded?
Yeah, that will be good. Yeah, that will be good for us.
Please leave your email address here for Alexander to send it to, or otherwise I can send. Probably I can do it by myself. I'm not sure. Let's see.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your time, and I hope our preparations will continue.
I dropped my mail ID, Catherine, over there. You can check and it'll send.
Yeah, we see it.
Yeah.
Okay, if not, if Alexander can do it, I can send it after the webinar. So thanks for leaving your email addresses. Thank you for your time and for your attention. So let's stay in touch and let's try it. And in case of any questions, please contact us. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Welcome. Thanks, Catherine. Thanks, Alexander.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Bye.